How's it going, everyone? It is Saturday, which means it is Park Run Day, and today we are off to Alexandra Parkrun, Moss Side. So Alexandra Parkrun is located in Manchester. It's just south of the centre of Manchester here, and it's right next to the A5 103 road into the centre. It's all on hard standing tarmac around Alexandra Park, and I don't believe there is any winter course for this, because if it was to be cancelled, it would be either frozen or waterlogged, which I doubt it'll ever be waterlogged. It is a relatively busy course. We've not done a busy one in a while either, since Eastville in Bristol, but there's over 500 runners, and this potentially could be the busiest course that I've ever done. I'm not too sure. And it is noticeable as well, so if you're not at the front at the start, you will find that sometimes you're trying to overtake people, and it can be quite difficult as it is quite tight paths as well. So at the start you might find yourself not running at your full pace, but then after about a minute or so you'll then start to pull away from different people, and it will open up a lot and you can start to overtake people and do what you want. With it all being on hard standing, there is no risk of tripping over. Obviously it can be slippy if it's icy, but they'll usually cancel it if that is the case. And with that said, you only need road shoes, no need for trail shoes for this course. There's no mud or anything that you're going to slip over on. It is a relatively flat course, however I did notice a slight incline in my legs. I could feel it as you were going up, and I'll show you the course in just a second where that incline is, but you don't really notice the incline when you're looking at it. However, I did feel it, which was a strange one really. But before we do take a quick look at the course, if you don't know what Park Run is, it is essentially a 5k run ran by a group of volunteers. You then have your own personalised barcode which you scan at the end, along with your finish token which you're given by a volunteer, and then you'll be sent an official park run time. So let's have a look at a summary of the course then. So you're going to start by the pavilion and do one lap around the perimeter of Alexandra Park to begin with, and then you're going to do that second lap of Alexandra Park with an elevation of about 32 metres overall in total, and then you're going to do a small lap all the way back to the pavilion. So not very challenging one, not too hilly, and maybe a good one for trying to get a PB. Now let's take a look at the course in a little bit more detail then. So you're going to start off near to the pavilion in this first section, then you make your way round in a circle around the first small park, head your way over towards the lake, and then once you pass that lake you're going to turn right running alongside the lake. You make your way up in a straight line. It is completely straight all the way up to this northern point where you do a U-turn, and I believe in that section is where most of the elevation is. Then you're going to make your way down towards the south side of the park in sort of a crescent shape before doing another almost U-turn, doing another crescent shape back to this first initial circular path. You then do that lap again, passing the lake, going up to the U-turn, then doing the two crescents, and then on the third lap, once you've gone back around this small park, you're going to turn right by the lake, head your way up, go around a circle in the other park, and then head your way back to the pavilion where the finish line is. So the course does look quite confusing, but it's not actually that confusing when you're there on the day and you're basically just following people, and there's over 500 of you doing it, so it'll be very impressive if you do manage to get lost unless you're at the front. So now we know the course, let's have a look at the park run records at Alexandra Park Run. So the fastest male to actually join it is a tie between Thomas Beasley and James McRae, who both got a time of 15 minutes and 7 seconds. The fastest female being Molly Williams with a time of 16 minutes and 33 seconds, both really impressive times. And then the average number of runners that you'll see there is 393, which on the day that I went was a lot more, and the average time is 27 minutes and 59 seconds, which is quite a quick average time, so maybe it's quite a good one for trying to get a PB. And now that we've looked at their stats, let's have a look at my stats. So with the GoPro, we have done 17 park runs so far, with Riverfront being the one last week. Our best finish position was in 4th at Zaloni Jar, and then our top 3 times was Riverfront with a time of 23 minutes 10, Evesham with a time of 23 minutes 01, and Summerdale Pavilion being my fastest time with 22:32. So as you can see, it is very, very busy at the start of the course, over 500 people, and it was also a very cold and wet day as well, so you may see me wiping the lens every so often to try and get off any rain droplets. So all of the new starter talks, milestone talks, health and safety announcements and things like that are done at the pavilion, and then you head your way about 10-20 metres away from the pavilion to the start line before you start the run. Another thing to know is that if you do want to go for a PB, I'd recommend going near to the front, because it does take about 1 minute or so to actually get up to full pace, because it is such a busy park run. But we're getting ready, we're almost starting. Give the camera a quick wipe in 3, 2, 1, we are off. There we go. So as you can see, it's actually really hard to tell that we have set off as it is so busy, but we have started our little jog now, and then we will start to pick up our pace very shortly. You can see it's quite a compact path as well. It's not that like wide a path, so do be careful not to trip up others, and we're heading our way around that first park right now, as I said in the course description just a second ago. And there we go, we've already been hit with a raindrop, unfortunately, there in the centre. That'll drop off in just a second. But you see it's starting to widen up a bit now. It's already 42 seconds in. You can start to try and overtake people, slip in and out as well. It does widen up a little bit around on the other side. You can obviously, as you see that guy on the right hand side, run across the grass, but I wouldn't recommend it because it might be quite slippy and boggy as well. And then when you come back onto the path, you need to be careful to not take anyone else out in that process. But we're heading around that first part now, and we are almost across the other side where the lake is. So trying to get to the outside lane now to try and overtake a few other people. As you can see, it's still quite busy and it is almost 2 minutes in. As you can see though, there's all hard standing tarmac and there's no puddles either, which is good, so you're not getting drenched on, well, I mean you're getting drenched from the rain, but you're not stepping in puddles and getting yourself all wet with wet soggy socks and feet. But we're just heading our way into the straight now, and the lake you'll see in a moment on that right hand side. So there's the pavilion there on that right hand side, those cones which you can see on the floor there as well, direct you on the last lap to that right hand side as well, but you got to keep on the left for the first 2 laps as we go around the perimeter of the park. You can see it's opening up a little bit now, widening up the path is, so we're able to overtake a few people. The little lake or pond or whatever it is there on that right hand side. So it's quite, I think on a nice day this would have been a really nice park to visit as well. You can see someone stopping there to do their laces, and then we're heading our way up onto that straight now before we'll do that U-turn. So as you may have seen, there are a few puddles in this area with a bit of the cracked concrete there on the cracked tarmac there on the floor of the path. We are going to turn right now, and then we're heading down the long straight all the way to the other side before doing a U-turn and coming back slightly just after that. But as you can see, this is actually where the incline is. It doesn't really feel like an incline. Well, I lie. It feels like a bit of an incline, but it doesn't look like an incline. So you do start to feel it in your legs a little bit, which is strange because it doesn't look like you're going uphill at all. It looks like just a straight flat, but it's quite a nice run, nice and straight now, opened up completely. And so after about 4 minutes and 20 seconds, you can finally just sort of overtake easily without putting anyone else at risk of tripping them over. So we're doing quite well at the moment. It's currently 5 minutes and 55 seconds as we make our way on the straight. You can see on that right hand side some people that have done the U-turn have come back down and are heading back towards the start line. It's also a good thing to note that buggies and dogs are allowed on this course. So if you have a dog or you have a child that you want to push around in a buggy, then yes, you can go to this course and they do allow that. So that's just another pointer for anyone else that is wanting to come to the park run with a child or dog. And so after we've just done that U-turn, as you can see, we are now heading back down towards the start line on that first crescent around the lake. So the lake will be there on that right hand side in just a moment. And then once we've done that, we are going to be doing the second crescent before making our way back to where we started, and we're doing a second lap of that, and then we're doing a slightly shorter lap to finish. If you do want any more information on the course, you can obviously check out the Alexandra Parkrun page, but I also have a Strava which I will link down in the comments, well, in the description below. So if you just find that link, you can go and follow me on there and see every parkrun that I do every week. We're almost past that first crescent and then moving into the second one. It looks like we're going to do a U-turn around here. So you can see this little monument here, the cones going around there. We're going to be going around there, and then we're heading onto the second crescent and towards where we started. But if you are enjoying this video and you do want to see more like this, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also share it with anyone else who you think will be interested in watching this too. And if you did run it on the day, don't forget to let me know down in the comment section below so you can spot yourself on the vid. And I'd say that's the bend there on that right hand side where we started. So it's about one lap in, 9 minutes and 33 seconds in as well. So we're probably just a little bit behind schedule if we want to try and beat that riverfront time in third. But we're going to try and pick up the pace now. Obviously that first lap was a little bit slower because we were caught up in a bit of traffic, and we have managed to start going a little bit quicker now. As you can see, the rain was pouring and it was landing on the camera as well, but I should wipe it in just a second. But we're now heading our way back around that first park and towards the lake again. And there we go, so we've made our we have made our way around that small park again for that second time. You see the pavilion there on the right hand side, and we're now heading off towards the lakes, and people in a second as well will start running down that funnel there on that right hand side as they are coming up to the finish, up to that final small lap. But for us, we've got to go around this long course again. You can see some people on the right there that are either on their first lap or on their final lap, and then we're going to turn right in and out at the end in just a second and make our way up the slight incline for the foot long straight before doing a U-turn and coming back towards the start. And there we go, so we are at that right bend now, and it is the long straight to the end of a never-ending track, this is for sure. So when you're on here, you just feel like it just goes on and on and on. Sometimes I close my eyes when I'm running. I know you probably shouldn't, but on a straight, if I'm a bit tired and things like that, I'll close my eyes for a few seconds and then open them again. It just makes me feel a bit more rejuvenated after I've done that. Let me know in the comments if anyone else does that. I'm sure I can't be the only one. And there we go, so we've done that U-turn then just for the second time, and we're now heading our way back around the crescent shape. So we've completed the long section, we've completed that one small park, and now we've only got the last little sections left to go. So moving into the crescent now in a time of 50 minutes and 27 seconds. It's going to be a close one, to be honest. It looks like it could be 23-minute mark, but we'll have to see how well we do and whether we can beat our riverfront time of 23 minutes and 10 seconds. And as you can see there on that right hand side, that is someone that is on their final lap but sprinting towards the finish. They must be doing pretty well, I have to say. If it's 60 minutes and 34 seconds, they must have been in the 17-18 minute mark. That is very, very impressive. We're still on this crescent going around the outside of the park, and we're about to do a right hand turn towards the second crescent. Then we just got a small little loop left to go, and then we are finished as well. So we're doing all right at the moment, to be honest. I'm pretty happy with my time, and we should definitely beat 25 minutes, which is my usual target time. But here we go, turning off to the right now, just going around these cones, and then we have the final crescent before we're back at the start. So that is the second big loop completed back to this first park where we're doing that loop for the final time, and then we're going to be turning right at the pavilion section, which we saw in the first two laps, and then once we've done that right hand turn, we are just doing one final loop before reaching the finish line, which is the pavilion. And there we go, loop complete. You might be able to see in the distance there on that right hand side people who are just finishing, and now we are heading onto the right hand side of this track bit here, so make sure to split off to the right. You don't want to be keeping on the left. There is a sign just here as well telling you which way you need to go in lap 1 and 2 and then lap 3. So there we go, keeping on that right hand side, funneling off through these cones, and now we're heading around the pavilion for the final small loop, so we can maybe start to pick up the pace just that little bit. 20 minutes and 11 seconds to go. Can we get under 24 minutes? I think we should be able to do that at least. There's the lake there on that left hand side, little doggo there trying to interfere with the run, enjoying the little run onto the course, and now we're just running around that final small park before finishing. So as you can see, the whole course has been on hard standing ground, which is good, and there's loads of trees around on the other sides as well. But maybe just a little bit of cover from the rain and the wind, because I didn't feel any wind, to be honest, on the day, although it was quite cold and it was quite rainy, which was unfortunate. But we still managed to do it in a good time, just ended up drenched, and because I was staying overnight in a hotel, I was able to go back, have a nice and warm shower, and then we went out for the day in Manchester. So it is a nice park, especially if you're just visiting Manchester for the weekend or so. I definitely recommend doing this one, as it's quite close to the centre, and it's also nice and easy to get to. There's some people on the left-hand side doing maybe their second or the first lap, but we're finishing off in just a second, making sure not to interfere with them by sticking on that right-hand side. There's the pug there in front of us as well, doing a good job running into the grass as well, nice and muddy, and probably had to be cleaned after the run as well. But this is the final sprint now. We're on 22:28. What time can we get? This to me is always the most satisfying bit, that final drive towards the finish. You can see it in the distance on that right hand side. Got some people as well in front of us, which is always good as well, because that makes me speed up as I try and overtake them just before the finish line. So here we go, we're picking up the pace. We're on 23 minutes and 8 seconds right now. Can't beat our time of Riverfront with 23:10, unfortunately, but let's see how quickly we can do it. There's the pug there on the right hand side sprinting for it as well. Can we get to the finish? And yes, we can. So we finished there with a time of 23 minutes and 23 seconds, which is exactly the same time that I got at Chipping Sodbury. Also make sure to keep in line as well in the finish funnel, otherwise the times will all be messed up. So that did happen on R1, so we had to make sure that we pulled them back and put them in the right position so it didn't mess up your times. But that is it, that's the end of the run. And so that is Alexandra Park run for you. We did really well ticking that A off the alphabeteer challenge, although we'd already done Ashton Court previously. But if you want to start off the alphabeteer challenge from the start, I definitely recommend doing Alexandra Park run at Moss Side. It is quite a nice one, to be honest, and on a sunny day it would obviously be a lot nicer as well. But there's a lot of people, so if you do want to try and get a PB, which is probably doable on this course, I would say start near the front. It's a fairly flat one, you don't really notice many hills, even though the elevation was 32 metres, which is more than a few of the other ones which we did. I would say it is pretty good for a park run record for yourself, as it is only a few U-turns, but we'll go through the pinch points in just a second. With it all being on hard standing as well, with very small amount of puddles, it was nice to keep my feet dry as well. And like I said earlier, road shoes are all you need. You don't need to get any trail shoes for this run at all. It's quite picturesque course as well, with the nice trees. We'd almost call it a foresty area, but it's like woodland, sort of running through woodland, followed by a lake as well, with a nice little pavilion in the centre too, where you start and finish, and you can stand there, wait for your friends underneath the pavilion and keep warm. And now it's time to take a quick look through at the pinch points of the course. So you've obviously got the very busy start, which isn't ideal. That does slow you down quite a bit, and I reckon if I didn't have that busy start, I may have actually done a much better time and potentially beat the Riverfront time from last week. Then also there is the U-turn at that far side and the sort of right bend as well. Both of those will slow you down just a little bit, taking a few seconds off, especially the U-turn, because you're sort of slowing down and then having to push back up to speed. But apart from that, maybe slightly hilly. I'm going to add that one as an iffy one on the end. It's not really that much elevation, but it's more elevation than the other one, so that'll slow you down a little bit as well. But apart from that, pretty good run for getting a park run record, especially for yourself. And if you do want to try and get that record, I do recommend staying right near the front. And like we say every week, a huge thank you to all of the volunteers. Without them, the run would not go ahead. They were all really nice, friendly, kind, and really loud at the start as well, shouting it across what we need to do for the run and all things like that. So really well organised, and especially with such a number of runners, it was really easy to get your finish token and then get it scanned as well without losing any of your time. And as usual, we end off with some tips and tricks for the park run. So firstly, public transport. If you want to get there by train/tram, I'd get off at the Firstwood tram stop, and that is then a 27-minute walk from there to Alexandra Park. There's a bit of a trek from the tram. But then again, I suppose it's probably quite a good, nice little warm-up if you do want to do the warm-up getting to the run. And then after that, if you want to get there by bus, you can get there by using the 23, 43, 85, 104 or 130, all of which stop outside at the Alexandra Park bus stop. So that's how you get there by public transport, which is recommended as it is quite limited parking at this park run. But if you do want to take your car, you can park to the north of the park along Claremont Road, but again, very busy up there, or at the south of the park at Demens Road as well. So both those roads you can use There's parking just on the side of the road. And finally, if you do want a post-parkrun coffee, it's probably one of the closest parkrun coffees you can get, as they all grab their coffee at the Alexandra Pavilion, which is just where we started and finished at. So that's all the tips from me as a tourist, but if you do that parkrun regularly at Alexandra Park, then do make sure to let us know down in the comment section as well of any other tips and tricks which which could be helpful. And now that we've gone through all of the tips and tricks, let's take a quick look at my after parkrun stats. So we've completed 18 parkruns now, with my best finish position staying the same. However, I've now increased the number of parkruns from 1 to 5 now, so this is my top 5 at the bottom, and we got a joint time there, you can see, with Chipping Sodbury in 4th of 23:23, and then 5 Archers there in 23:25, so all pretty close time to be honest, but nothing is getting close to Somerdale Pavilion with a time of 22:32. However, that was done in the summer, so maybe we could start to try and catch up that time as we move into the summer months. And that is it, Alexandra Parkrun Moss Side completed, so that is another one that bites the dust. But if you do want to go and check out any other parkrun videos which I do, you can check out last week's, which was at Riverfront Parkrun, where we got our 3rd quickest time, or you can check out all of the other ones in my parkrun playlist here. But I hope everyone did enjoy this video, and don't forget to smash that like button and share it with others. Next week we are off to Thornbury Parkrun, which is just to the north of Bristol. I hope we can try and get on the leaderboard with that run, and with that being said, I will see you all in the next one.